Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Decryption, and I hope you are well. It's been a while since we've touched the jail series, and I want to get back into it because I need a jail system in my game. So, if you don't know where we are at the moment, we have this semi-prison setup here, which, when I start revamping the land, is going to massively improve itself. But if we try it now, you can see we can freely explore the jail cell, and you can see the guards will patrol around. I am going to massively get this revamped, so you have like a little dungeon you have to crawl through, you have to go up some stairs, dodge a guard, etc, etc. You can see there's a bunch of different jail cells. We can even come in and open, well, we can't open, the locked jail cells are locked, but we can open them. And if we press the P key to simulate the fact we've been caught and sent to jail, we will be successfully locked in jail. And there is a variety of escape techniques we've got. And you can see this escape technique is we have to bribe the guard because he's not got anything. So if we talk to him and say, hey, how would you like to make some gold? We can successfully say, we'll give you 20 gold, and he lets us out, we can escape. However, what you'll notice is I currently retain all of my inventory, and the UI is still on the screen even when we're jailed. And I don't think that's great. Maybe the compass you should know about, sure. But I don't think you need to know what weapons you've got, which at the moment is just a test UI. You shouldn't be able to access your inventory and, several other things. So in this episode, we're going to look at cleaning up the UI and removing the player's inventory. So when you do finally get out, you can hunt around to try and find your inventory and get out. So let's get started. So there's a few things that we need to do today. The first one is to clean up the UI and hide the aspects that don't work when you're in jail. So I'm going to come and open up my UI. And of course, this is going to change depending on what UI you've got in your game. So looking at my UI, I absolutely can get rid of the current weapon because we don't need that. The crosshair I will keep because it's useful to have. I don't think we need the minimap. The compass would be nice to know so you have a rough indication of where a guard's coming from. And I think that's it. I think everything else can retain. So now that we know which elements we want to remove, we need a way of actually detecting when the player is in jail, or, to make it generic, when the player is in certain situations, like they're in dialogue or something like that, then we can hide portions of the UI. So at the moment, I don't believe we've got any flags that actually say that we're in jail or not. I believe it just moves a character and deactivates a bunch of stuff. So if we just open the jail cell, and we've got the add character to jail, all it does is tell them to send to jail. So if we have an interface on here called send to jail. Yeah, so for the player, all it does is set their location, sets them to first person mode, and then fades the camera. That's it. There's nothing on there which says they are currently in jail. So what I'm thinking we'll do is, because there could be a variety of situations, such as in jail or in dialogue, in firefighter mode, in police mode, in medic mode, blah, 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 whatever else. That's quite a lot of scenarios that we're going to have. So what I'm going to do is actually add gameplay tags into our game, which states where we are at certain times. And then when we're looking at adding gas abilities, such as attacking and stuff like that, we can circumvent certain things if a gameplay tag exists. So I'm going to come to Edit Project Settings, and I'm just going to search for tags. And you'll see I've got all my gameplay tags here, and I'm going to tick Manage Gameplay Tags. So I've already got a few on here, like the NPC, the input, the actions, and such. But what I'm going to do is actually, I'll come to the top and click the plus, and I'm going to type characters.states, and then I can type something here. So what we're doing is each time you do a dot, that's a subfolder. So you can see actions.gathering, and then the actual tag name. So I'm going to do characters.states.in-jail. And I'll set the source to my default one and click add. And now all characters, player included, can have that. The NPCs have patrol points, so they've got their own category. That's fine because the player can't have that. Actions is really only for the player, so that sorts what they're currently doing on the gameplay tag too. And just to show other things, like if I come in and go characters.states.medic mode, I can also add that as well. We've now got an idea of what's there. So if I come back to my player here, we need a way to attach gameplay tags to this player. So I haven't got anything on my player at the moment which gives them the ability to have gameplay tags. So if you already have a gameplay ability system on here, that contains a gameplay tag property you can use, but for me, I don't. So what I'm going to do is add a new variable called gameplay tags, just for now. And I will set it to a type of gameplay tag container, like so. And the container is the option to have multiple tags. So I can come and take multiple things at once. And now we can get ideas of what the player is or has. What I'm also going to do is come and find my BPI character, which is my interface for modifying generic characters. And I will simply add a function called getGameplayTags. And I will output the gameplay tag container, like so. And this gives us a great way of getting the gameplay tags. It is going to also be common that we set gameplay tags, so I'll also add another interface of set gameplay tags. And I'll add an input of the gameplay tag we want. However, typically you're only ever going to attach one tag, so I am just going to set mine to a gameplay tag instead of a container. And if it ever becomes a thing where we need to add more than one, we can just modify it. Now on the character, we can come and find the interface for set and get gameplay tags. The get gameplay tags, we will just return our container. The set gameplay tags, we will simply get the gameplay tags, drag off and do add gameplay tag. And we can populate it with our new one and connect it up. Now we've got a nice easy way of populating gameplay tags on the player. So another thing what we're going to do while we're here is actually add an event dispatcher for when a gameplay tag updates. And this is going to give us a great way of connecting to the player, say on the UI, and say when the gameplay tag updates, get it and make state changes. So then the UI will just sit there. We never have to reach out trying to touch it. We can just control it from gameplay tags. So I'm going to add an event dispatcher of on gameplay tags change. And I will drag it in and choose call and connect it right after the set gameplay tags. But what I'm also going to do is just give it an input of the new gameplay tags. And all it's going to do is simply return the gameplay tag container. And the reason we're doing this is typically when a gameplay tag changes, you're going to want to know what's changed / what's there so you can make the appropriate adjustments. So in this case, every time we call gameplay tags change, it will instantly tell us, hey, here's all your new tags, or the tags in general, which means we don't have to come back and call get gameplay tags. So the reason we've done this is now back on the HUD. If I go to the graph, I'll add my construct event in, and then I will get the player pawn, because for me, that's who's the one using the UI, the NPCs aren't. Then because the UI is always available when the player is, I am actually going to cast to the BP player, like so. Because casting isn't always bad. It's only bad if you're casting to things that isn't always in memory. And then I'm going to assign on the gameplay tags change, like so. Now, every time the gameplay tags change, we will get an update so we can change on the UI what needs to show or hide. So what I'm going to do is drag off this and do does container match tag query. And what a query is it allows us to question the gameplay tags, because as you can imagine, there can be a huge amount of tags in there, and this lets us easily query it and say, does this tag exist? Does this tag exist? From here, I will right click and do make gameplay tag, and you see we've got a bunch of different ones we can do. So I'm going to do match any tags, and what this is saying is if any of these tags in here is found, even a single one, return true. Or in our case, that's where we'll start hiding things. For the in tags, I'll drag off and do make gameplay tag container, like so. And now we can add all the gameplay tags we want. So what I'm going to do for this first one, I think, we'll drag off and we'll say, should the minimap show? There we go. So for the minimap, I will say, if you are in jail, then the minimap, or at least in my case, this UI, we will set the visibility, and then I will drag backwards off of this and do select, and then we can connect the output of the tag container query to the index. And now this gives us a really nice way to say if they are in jail, then the visibility should be collapsed, otherwise it should be non-hit testable, like so. And I can plug it in over there like that. So now we have a really nice way of keeping the UI updated when things change. So let's give it a test. Let's implement a tag and see if this automatically updates it for us. So I'm going to come back to my BP jail cell where we actually arrest the people and send them to jail. And right where we're adding characters to jail here, you can see we're looping over and sending them to jail. What I'm actually going to do is drag off this target and also do set gameplay tags like so. And the new tag we want to add is indeed they are in jail. But also, when they're removed from jail, don't forget to remove the tag. Otherwise, you're going to have a bad time when, they can't escape from it. And we'll connect that back over there. So I've just noticed we can't actually remove the tag from it. We can only ever add to it. So we might need to actually fix that so we can remove tags and add them. So you can either do a separate function for add gameplay tags, remove gameplay tags, or you can add a boolean onto it. I'm going to do two functions. So I'll rename this to add gameplay tags and remove gameplay tags. I'll compile and save. Back in my character, you've got add gameplay tags here where it adds to the gameplay tag. I'll add the remove gameplay tags, which will do basically the same thing, except it will simply call remove gameplay tag. We'll connect it up like so, and then we'll make it go up to there as well. And they both can call the same change because it is still changing. And then back on our jail cell, instead of add, we will simply call remove gameplay tags. And the tag we want to remove is, of course, the jail. So let's give this a go. And then if it works, we will improve some stuff later. So where's the jail? The jail is here. Let's just start the game and get sent to jail. And then in theory, the minimap should disappear. So you can see the minimap's there. If I press P, the minimap has disappeared, ladies and gentlemen. How cool is that? All because we are in jail. So if I wait for this guard to come to me, I think he's just going in the second door at the moment. So he's about there. Is he coming? Yeah. So we'll talk to him, we'll bribe him. And then after we get removed from jail, the minimap has not come back yet. So that means something in the gameplay tags isn't removing it from the player. If I press F8 to break out and click on the player, their gameplay tags, yes, it still says they're in jail, look. And I can't just remove it because then our event dispatcher's not fired. So something in the escape isn't removing the player from jail. So this looks to be a small bug with the escape technique system we've set up, but super easy to fix. So I'm actually going to come to my interfaces folder with my jail cells, and we have the jail escape blueprint interface. I'll just add a new function called finished escape, and I'll hit compile and save. For each escape, when the player successfully unlocks the jail cell, we need to immediately remove the tag from them to say, hey, you finished escape. You're not technically in jail anymore. The guards are going to arrest you. I will just go to the door left unlocked here. So the door's unlocked. You could wait until the player opens it. All I'm going to do is simply get the player pawn, and I will simply remove character from jail, which is one we've already set up in the previous tutorials. And the character is indeed the player pawn. And it wants the instance of the interface for BPI character from the pawn. So I will simply drag off and cast it to a BPI character to get the interface so we can plug it in. And that way we have successfully removed the player from the jail as soon as the door's left unlocked because the guards forgot to do it. So I've made one slight mistake with the interfaces. Make sure that you drag from the jail cell and do remove characters from jail that way instead. Otherwise, it will use the wrong interface, seeing as we have a remove from jail interface on the character. So there, on the door left unlocked, we remove the character from jail. For the Bribe guard with gold, we only need to do it once we talk to the guard. So I'm actually going to come and find the dialogue that controls this. So in my narrative folder, dialogue, and I have jail guards, and I've only got one of them. Right at the end, you can see all of them activate an event of jail state change. So if we press Ctrl P and find the jail state change, then right across here where we get the current jail cell there, right at the end when we open the jail cell, we can actually get the current jail cell, and we can get, again, call remove from jail. We can do remove character from jail, and the jail it wants is successfully our BPI character here, like so. We can tidy this up a little bit. So now when you talk to the guards, the jail will also unlock and remove you from the jail cell. And the final one will be the steal the guard's key. So once you've stole the guard's key, it needs to successfully remove you from the jail. So we now have the key, and once we've looped over and destroyed the key, we can just put a little gap there. Then we can get the player pawn, and we can just simply call remove the gameplay tags, just like we did when we left the door unlocked. So we'll get the player, remove them from jail, and then we can do the same because the player has successfully stolen the key, like so. So I've made one slight mistake with the interfaces. Call remove character from jail that way instead, like so. So now that we've successfully removed the character from all the jails, we can go back to the ALS character, or the player, and when we actually remove from the jail, which is the event we've added at the start, we can now successfully remove the gameplay tag from the player. So I'm just going to come and drag off and do remove gameplay tag. And I want to make sure I get our interface function here, because otherwise it won't trigger properly, and we can successfully remove the jail state. Now with all of these, we are telling the jail cell to remove the characters from jail, which clears itself up and removes characters from the array. And then by default, that just takes the characters out of it, but it also calls the character specific remove from jail, which in the case of our player, we can actually turn back into third person mode. So I'm going to grab this, stick it right here, and turn them back into third person mode. So the game looks all natural and back to normal. So if we try it this time, if I press P to go to jail, you'll see I'm in jail. The minimap has disappeared. As soon as I get that key, the minimap is back. We're just waiting for the jail to go, then we can escape. And the minimap is back. We're back in third person. We can now escape. So what was the point of doing all of that with the gameplay tags? So what this has now allowed us to do is on our HUD is now do really simple stuff with this. So I'm going to convert all of this to a function, and I'll call it toggle UI element by tag is what I'm going to call it. And we're going to need to heavily modify this. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pass the widget that we want to show or hide into that. Then the visibility true I will pass in, and the visibility false I will pass in as well. And then the characters in tag I will also pass in like so. And the tag container as well. So let's reorganize this, and we'll see what this is going to do in a moment, but the keen eye of you might be able to tell what it's doing. So I'll rename this variable to true visibility, and I'll do the same for false visibility, because some UI elements like the inventory you want to be clickable, whereas other ones just need to be passive. You don't need to click them. The in tags I'll keep at the bottom. The target is the widget, and we can hit compile. So a super simple function, but what this allows us to do now is from here is pass in the tag container. The in tags I will drag off and do make literal tag gameplay container, and we will say jail. For false visibility, I want it collapsed. For true visibility, I want it non-hit testable. And then the widget is our minimap, like so. But now I can copy that, and I can paste it next, and I can do the next one, and say, let's see I'll get the weapon overlay. This can be my other widget, which is also invisible if you're in jail. So just make sure you connect the gameplay tags up just like that, and make sure you switch them around correctly. So if this tag is in there, for true, it should be collapsed. For false, it should be invisible. Same thing for the weapon overlay. I don't think you can combine them. No. For some functions, you can combine the same thing. We can't for this one, but that's fine. So if we try it this time, you should see as we press P, everything's disappeared on the UI. We're looking good. When the character walks up, we take the jail key, we can escape. How cool is that, ladies and gentlemen? So with the gameplay tags, we can actually do other things with it as well. So for example, if I go back to the character here and I find where I can spawn my inventory from, where I can see the menu. So here you can see where I've got my open inventory. What we can actually do is prevent this in certain instances. And it's the exact same way we did it on the UI. So I can drag the gameplay tags container in, and I can say, does container match tag query? Drag off and do make any. Make a literal. And we'll expand all of this just to give us some more space, like so. Add a branch, connect that to there. Back to the started, and to the player. So what we're essentially doing now is saying if the player has these tags, then, on false, don't let them do it. So I'll say if they are in jail, they're not allowed to open their inventory. Of course, if you have gas set up, which I don't in this project yet, you can also simply add this tag to your gas ability to say cannot be executed this way. And that will also prevent them, which will be a nice way. But I can also add multiple tags to this as well. So if I say you're in medic mode, you also can't open your inventory. So if we try it this, we can pretty much limit everything the character needs to do based on gameplay tags, which is why they're so powerful. So you can see, come in, my inventory no longer works. Take the jail key, I can now access my inventory. How cool is that, ladies and gentlemen? So now that we've got the basic tag system set up, whilst we're here, we can also make it so the player's inventory gets removed, and it's super simple. So the first thing you're going to need is some sort of inventory system. Now, if you've watched any of my other tutorials, I'm using the narrative inventory system. Equally, you could have the Jigsaw one, I think Ninja's got one now. You could even have made your own one, either way. But you need an inventory and you need something to interact with. So in previous tutorials, I believe I've made a lootable chest. So let's just stick that. Where would the guards put a chest full of goodies? Probably with the other goodies, right? So we'll put it there. Let's just see if we can actually interact with it. See if I've broke it or not, because it won't be a great tutorial if I broke it. So if we run up to it, interact, you can see I can see my items and I can see the chest's items. We're all good. So all we really have to do is get the player's inventory when they're sent to jail, put it all into this chest, and then, well, if the player never comes back for it, they've lost all their items, haven't they? So how do we go around doing this then? So I'm going to place this chest where I want it. You could also add multiples. And for now, I'm simply going to give it a tag of jail chest. However, I only say for now because we do eventually need to add the full jail controller thing, which will control which guards are there. It will plan the escapes out properly. It will handle sending people to jail and releasing them timely. And it will store the chest as well. So for temporarily, we will just use that, but eventually we will have the full controller take care of it. So on the player, when I press the P key to get sent to jail, I simply call add character to jail on a random jail cell, which will be on BP jail cell. So when we add the character to the jail cell, and don't forget even NPCs will be sent to jail, they don't need any inventory. What we can do is simply come across to here, when we tell them they're in jail, and we can get all actors of class with tag, and the tag we want is our double chest, and the tag will be jail chest. We can then get a random one of these, just in case it ever has multiple, and then this is where we can get the inventory component from target like so. And now from here we can add all the items to it. To get the player's items, we can simply get the character that we're doing it from. So we can drag down here, we can cast it, which in my case will be the ALS character. Then we can connect it up to here. So now that we've got all of this here, I'm actually going to convert this to a function, just because then we can keep it nice and clean. So I'll collapse it to a function called transfer character inventory. And you can see it's already passing in the object for the character. So I'll rename that to character. And I'll open it up. I'll neaten it out a little bit. So the first thing it's doing is getting the ALS character, which is good. From here, I will get the inventory component from target. And then from here, I can do get items. And then I can loop over it, like so. I think what I might do is suggest to the developer of narrative to just see if we can add a transfer all items, because it might be useful for quite a lot of things actually, if you want to transfer every single item to a chest instead of looping over it. But it doesn't matter. So we've got all of that now. We're looping over all the items. We do need to get the random inventory we're trying to add to. So before we do all of this, I am actually going to make some space and put this inventory chest find thing first. And we'll promote this to a local variable called jail chest. And we'll connect it up, make some space, and we should be good. There we go. So now we've got the actual jail chest. We've got the player's inventory. Then all we do is get the jail chest, try add item by class. The array element will drag off and do get class, which will give us the class so we can plug it into item class. We can also drag off and do get quantity, which we can also add to the quantity like so. It will say, do you want to check auto use? I will uncheck that because when you add, say, a t-shirt to a chest, you don't want it to automatically equip that t-shirt because the chest will look a little bit weird with a t-shirt. After we've done all of that, we've added all of the items to the inventory. So next, you might think we can just drag off of this and do remove item, but we can't actually do that because this for each loop is going to be ticking over these items. If we're removing it at the same time, this is going to get confused to which item we actually need to remove. So for example, if you come in and go 0 on here, add the item to the chest, remove 0, number 1 now becomes 0 because you've just removed 0. So we need to do it a bit differently. So what I'm going to do after these get items is I'm actually going to drag down and do reverse for each loop. And what this is going to do instead is, instead of going from 0, 1, 2, 3 and removing it so it removes its count, it instead starts from the very end and goes down backwards. So when it removes number 5, well, number 5's gone, that's fine. Then it goes to number 4, which makes it work perfectly. So if I connect this to the completed, I can now drag from the inventory, press R to make a gap and do remove item, in which case I will plug the item in and plug it in there like so. So let's give this a test now. So you can see if I start the game, if I press tab, I have all my items. If I press P to go to jail and steal the guard's key, if I press tab, you can see I only have the jail key because that's all I've picklocked. All my items are gone. But if I come back to the chest, and you know the guard's not going to get me just yet, this chest now has all my items in, so I can take all my stuff back, and I am back to business. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. How cool is that? We now have a way for the UI to disappear when we go to jail. There we go. Oh, the jail says not closing. We'll need to fix that. We can't access the inventory and stuff, but when we do, it's transferred all our items to there, so we can't instantly come out fighting. You could also look at adding an ability. Say you've got a certain skill tree or a perk that says you don't lose your items when you're arrested. Maybe you hide them in small dark places, you know, your giant longsword. Either way, it's looking really cool. In the next tutorial, we are indeed going to look at adding the jail controller, because I think it'll be a key thing now, where it will control which guards are on patrol, how many guards, what they react to, moving the player's chest, picking the correct area, and it also means that when we get sent to jail, we can pick which jail we want to go to. So are we going to go to the jail in the Elven Kingdom here? Are we going to go to the jail in the Hidden Castle, the Egyptian area, or the Elven hometown? Either way, we'll be able to have fun with it. Thanks for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I hope this was helpful. If you've got any suggestions, please let me know below. If you're adding a jail cell to your game, let me know what lock picking would you add to your game, because there's loads of different ways you can do it. Thanks for watching. My name is Decryption, and I will see you next time.